thankful for the coldest cold that leaves me basking in your glowing view. It's you.
Corals, the architects of vibrant marine life, depend on sunlight to grow and thrive. But with too much intense sunlight, they face a harsh paradox. What fuels their growth can also be their destruction. As temperatures climb, these magnificent reefs bleach to a ghostly white. If water temperatures stay high, these beautiful yet suffering corals will die, eventually covered over by algae. But in some cases, coral bleaching can also be an opportunity to test and develop new coral conservation methods against these extreme heat waves. In the heart of French Polynesia on the island of Moorea, scientists are developing new and innovative approaches to help protect these fragile ecosystems. The approach is both simple and ingenious. To protect vulnerable coral, scientists are shading coral nurseries to block out harmful sunlight. Just a little less harmful UV light can mean life or death for corals. Could this approach be the answer to saving coral reefs? Dive into the story as we uncover the science, challenges, and hope behind saving one of the ocean's most vital ecosystems.
We know that the bleaching process is due to increasing seawater temperature. But we also know that if you reduce the light, then you will decrease the bleaching. I wanted to test whether the shading could be something that we can deploy at bigger scale and to create like conservatory of coral.
But what makes coral reefs so crucial for the islands of French Polynesia? For the people in the ocean, these reefs are life itself. They feed communities, protect the shorelines from powerful storms by absorbing wave energy, and create a sanctuary for thousands of marine species. The reef's foundation depends on fast-growing corals. These species bring strength and structure to the reef, yet they are also the most vulnerable, often the first to suffer and die in the extreme heat waves that regularly hit French Polynesia. The mission of the scientists of the French Marine Institute, CRIOB, is to find ways to help these essential species survive and even thrive, despite the rising temperatures.
The reef is not just one species. It's like the diversity of the reef that make the reef. So that's the reason why we work on different species.
So here in French Polynesia, we have 250 different species of corals. But working here on 12 different species, so it will be like a total of like 1,000 corals working on this nursery.
In these nurseries, small fragments of healthy coral carefully collected from Moorea's lagoon are given a safe place to grow. Coral nurseries come in various shapes. In this case, they resemble underwater tables, which are shaded with a special cloth. On these tables, coral fragments are firmly attached to PVC tubes that run across the structure. Over time, the small coral fragments mature into robust corals, ready to be replanted on the reef, helping to rebuild and strengthen the underwater ecosystem.
Before implementing shading, we took all measurements on the corals. So each coral fragment is identified with a tag, and we can follow them through time.
Before attaching coral fragments to nurseries, scientists measure each fragment's health by analyzing color changes, tracking size and weight. And using fluorescence to gauge potential stress. They also collect tiny tissue samples for DNA analysis to understand the coral and its symbiotic algae's genetic resilience. goal is to compare thousands of fragments across different nurseries, some shaded, some unshaded, and others at depths of 6 to 30 meters.
During the 2019 bleaching event, we saw that we had less bleaching at 20 and 40 meters than we had at 6 meters because the light intensity was lower. We know now that like in the deep, coral could survive, but they grow less, but they are protected from bleaching, but they just need to be in the deep for the summer months. So the idea will be to design a nursery that you could transport easily, like to 30 meters, like with all your corals.
By identifying the hardiest genotypes, scientists hope to grow and replant these resilient corals to strengthen Moria's reefs. But it doesn't always go as planned.
It's super hard to understand the coral. I mean, you have two different colonies that are right next to each other in the lagoon. One is bleaching, the other is not. And there are so many different possibilities as to why it's not bleaching or it's bleaching. The fact that it's complex, that it's a complex organism makes it harder for us to try and, implement successful conservation-like approaches. But at the same time, it's like a challenge that needs to be, answered, that needs to be faced.
At just 6 meters, most of the coral fragments have already perished. Fish that depend on healthy reefs now crowd into the last remaining pockets of living coral, seeking refuge in these final, fragile fragments of the nursery. This reality shows just how urgent it is to find a way to preserve this ecosystem. In a series of dives, scientists tag both bleached and healthy corals in the lagoon and outer reef, embarking on a quest to uncover what makes certain colonies survive. Which species are more resilient? Are there specific areas around the island where corals stand a better chance? They revisit these tagged corals regularly, assessing their condition by comparing color changes with a standardized color chart and taking detailed photographs to monitor their progress. Each observation is carefully recorded and added to a comprehensive database, building a clearer picture of how these coral colonies respond to the challenges of a warming world. But does shading truly benefit the coral fragments?
Right now we see a major difference, like between the coral that you put under the shade and the coral that you don't put under the shade.
The scientists have demonstrated that shading effectively reduces heat stress. During the warm summer months, they successfully decreased coral bleaching in shaded nurseries compared to unshaded nurseries, showing that even simple shading can make a vital difference for coral survival.
I think I'm always impressed how fast they grow, and seeing the change like this, it kind of provide me hope that, okay, they are growing, so they are well, so we can do something. There is still hope. But on the other side, when you go in the nursery and that you do have a bleaching event and 50% of the coral are dead, like it's kind of depressing. But then you can say, okay, 50% are dead, but I still have 50%, so potentially on that coral, on that genotype, I could find coral that will resist the next bleaching event. So we need to see this big picture of the reef, this nice puzzle of the reef, and that each solution will allow to keep it in place.
To support the work of science for reefs, visit www.science4reefs-cnrs.com.